What's going down? This is your man Don T of Don T Records Music Group, and today I want to share with you some of my outboard gear. Some people have been inquiring about my outboard gear, okay? And so I want to start with my outboard gear vocal chain, and that starts with the microphone. And I do have the microphone right here beside me. I pulled it out the mic stand just for this video, and it comes in such a nice, beautiful box. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful box. Let's see how beautiful the mic is. So the mic that I use currently in the studio is by Lauten Audio. This is the FC387 condenser microphone. And what's so unique about this microphone, if I turn it around here, right here, it has three voices. It has a forward voice, it has the neutral voice, and then it has a gentle voice. So what's the difference? Let me tell you. So in forward, I get a more modern sound, okay? And what's going on with this microphone, and this is how I will record generally my lead vocals. So I'm gonna get more boosts in the mids and the highs, give me more air in my vocals. And this is what I really want, especially in this modern day. And then we got the neutral position. It de-emphasizes the mids and highs, gives you a more balanced sound, okay, across the spectrum, okay? Still sounds great in this position. Now the gentle position, it tames harshness in that bright high frequency area. And so by putting it in gentle, you'll get a more vintage type sound. So in my studio, as I said already, I like to record lead vocals in the forward position. And then I'll choose between neutral or gentle for my background vocals. And basically what this does is give me a separation between the lead vocals and the background vocals to give me some separation and give me some difference there, okay? So when it comes to mixing, it makes it a whole lot easier. So this mic comes with 3 polar patterns, okay? And also a gain here in pad. I generally use this on 0 dB, okay, right there in the middle. But you can do a negative 10 dB pad, or you can do a gain of plus 10 dB. Now the price point on this mic is ranging from $1,800 on up. So it's a great mic, it's very versatile, and it works in several applications, drums, toms, you name it, overheads, hi-hats. You can use this in various settings, not just for vocals, but a lot of different settings you can use this microphone in. Okay, now that we saw the microphone, let's talk about my mic preamp and also my compressor. So let's go. Follow me. We're going to move on over to the mic preamp and compressor and take a look at it. All right, let's go. Okay, so over here we're at the rack. All right, so in the rack you can see I got a CL1B and I have 2 Shelford Neve channel strips, okay? So the mic comes into the Shelford channel strip, and this is where I set up the gain for the mic by setting up the pre. So this is the mic pre. All right, so it says mic gain. And so generally I'm between 30 and 36, depending on the artist. And I'll have them sing with the music playing in probably the loudest part of the song. So I can kind of dial that in, because generally I'm around 30 and 36. I can use the trim knob if the volume gets too loud. If it gets too low, I also can use the trim knob. Got a plus 6 dB here or negative 6 dB, a reduction. So I'll use this. I want to try to keep the vocal on the VU below 0, or just hitting right at 0 on the loudest part. That's my goal, is keep the vocal below 0 or right at 0. All right, so I do that by the mic gain, either increasing, reducing, and also using the trim knob. All right, so you got your phantom power here. All right, then you have your phase invert here, so you can invert your signal. Then you have your high pass filter here. which I'm generally around 80 most of the time, or 100, okay? Between there, 80 and 100. All right, now you got your EQ section, all right? Basically, when I'm tracking vocals, I don't use the low frequency. I don't use the mid frequency. I do use the high frequency. I like to boost that 16K to give me some more air in the vocal, because I want to make sure I can have that air and that modern day sound. So I always boost that 16, all right? And I make sure that it's not harsh when I'm doing so, because you also got to boost on the microphone. All right, so then compression section here, I don't use this anymore when tracking. I did use it at one time, but I don't use it anymore. But what makes this compressor still an awesome compressor, it has a blend knob, so you can do some parallel stuff, which I do use it on my mix bus chain and mastering chain, basically to blend in how much compression I actually want from this device. But it's a great compressor. I won't dive into it, being I'm not using it currently on my vocal chain. So let's talk about the silk, okay? So you got the blue silk and you got the red silk. So if you're going for a more warmer sound in the 300 range, you want to use the blue silk. And you can just boost that thing. It sounds great. I generally go probably about 9 o'clock to 12, 9 to 12, when adding some of this saturation, or this silk, you want to call it. The red silk, it gives you more of a boost of harmonics in the upper ranges of the frequency spectrum, which can give you more sheen, more brightness. And that all depends on what you're going for. Depends on the music, the song. Is it a dark song? Is it a bright song? Is it, what kind of song is it? And does it sound good at the end of the day? All right. So let's move up to the CL1B. All right, CL1B. So here you got your compression in, but over here you have your actual power. That's your on and off to turn the unit on. And then you have your compression in and out. So this is your bypass switch, so you can turn the compression on and off. You got your attack here. You have a release. You have attack and release select, and I'll talk about that more here in a second. You got your gain, basically it's makeup gain for once you know how much compression you have going on. You want to make that up on your output. And normally I try to keep between 3 to 5 in gain reduction. That seems to be the sweet spot. My ratio is normally between a 2 to 1 and maybe a 4 to 1 ratio when recording vocals. Threshold, I just dial that in accordingly, depending on how much gain reduction I need, how much, release time that I have, because the more release time, the longer it holds it, it's going to be compressed more. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's talk about the fix, right? So this thing has right here on this select here, fix, right? So if in the fixed mode, this acts like a LA2A. In the fixed mode here, that's going to act like a LA2A. So basically this here, I can do this or whatever, or do this or whatever, and it's not going to have really any effect on how much release or attack time. So it's a set attack time, which is 1 millisecond, and release time is 50 milliseconds. Okay, it's already set. Where I like to be is in fixed man mode, okay, or manual mode, okay. So in fixed manual mode, this setting combines the release time and the fixed time, okay. So let me say that again. I kind of messed that up. So that combines the release times of the fixed and manual mode, okay. So the attack time is as in the fixed mode, okay. So in this mode, this here is, I can do whatever with it again in fixed mode, because the attack time is going to be fixed, okay. So it's still going to be that 1 millisecond. However, I get the release time is going to be in manual mode, okay. So that's the difference. So now my release time is in manual mode. So I'm dialing in the release time to actually, how long it's going to hold whatever that signal down once it passes the threshold, what it's going to do to it. And that's going to be between 0.05 seconds and 10 seconds of release time. All right. So the last mode is manual. All right. Manual mode, I have control over everything. Okay. That means I got control over the attack. I got control over the release time and so forth. Okay. So once my vocals go through here, it then goes over to my 80 plus. Okay. And I'll take you over and show you the 80 plus. So let's go over and see what the 80 plus looks like. Okay, so let's take a look at this rack. So at the top, I have the Dangerous Convert 80 plus. This is an analog to digital converter. And this is how I get the vocals into my DAW. Now, from left to right, I have the sample rate, which is at 48 kilohertz. I have the calibration, which is at -14, but while tracking vocals, I will turn this to -18. I like to keep my vocal levels in the DAW between -18 and -6 while recording. Next over, you got the analog input. You have 2 stereo inputs on this. My CL1B is currently running into the input 2, so I select that when tracking vocals. I have a clip guard, so I can actually clip some things. I don't use that unless I'm mastering. So normally I use that during mastering because it's a clipper. And then you have your peak and you hold and reset. So you can see where your peaks are. It'll hold your peaks. You can turn that off, but you can see how loud things are. Based off this meter, based off every meter I have in the studio, I can compare to see what the levels are and if they're matched up or whatever the case may be. Then you have the metering scale meter scaling, which is where you can zoom in or zoom out on the digital level. Very handy when you want to really dial in where you are as far as volume. And then you have the word clock, which is in master mode, which controls all the rest of the units. Then you have the X-Former insert, which emphasizes the 300 hertz range. It has 2 order of harmonic distortion built in. And I don't use it when tracking vocals, but when I'm mixing and mastering, I do use it. So this is the 80 plus analog to digital converter. If you got any questions about this unit, just leave me a comment below. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on my vocal chain. We talked about the Lauten Audio Atlantis, the FC387 condenser microphone. We talked about the Shelford Neve channel strip, which is my preamp, equivalent, if not better, than the 1073. We talked about the CL1B compressor, which is the greatest. We talked about the Dangerous 80 plus, the analog and digital converter is how I get my vocals into my DAW. If you got any questions, leave me a comment below and I'll get back to you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you need to know more about compression, I have a compression video out there just for you. Okay? So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification button. So when I put out new tutorials, you'll be the first to know. Thanks for watching. This is Don T of Don T Records Music Group. I'll see you next time. Peace.